Hello, internet.
Listen, there's a young man who goes by Timothy Hamner Sr. Sometimes we call him Pastor Tim. Today, he is called
The Pastor.
Yes.
And we have another person here. His name is Lyle E. Henderson, but he is more known as
Prince. The Prince.
The Prince.
The Prince.
Okay, the real Prince.
Right. Not
He's
the formerly,
in the ground.
right.
Okay,
Not the
so
artist
let's
formerly
give
known
him
as.
his props, and so that we don't get him mixed up with the other Prince of
not
Praise.
Not that one. Right, exactly.
He schooled me on this one on the first episode. So for those of you that missed, you got to go check out that first episode when we introduced ourselves.
Not the Prince of Praise, even though I do sing gospel. I got my name, the Prince, from the New Orleans Prince of Gospel.
Yes,
Prince
New
Orleans
Gospel.
Prince of Gospel. Not New Orleans.
Why do they have to put the Prince or the King or the Queen? But that's another show.
Yeah. Okay. All
Where
right.
are we at today?
Anyway.
You know what? Can I share something with you?
Yeah, go ahead. Do that.
Man, I am so sore from working out at the gym the other day.
Let me tell you, I was just playing around with my cousin the other day. Just grown men playing around, my cousin and his two brothers, and we started wrestling and just really, doing some horseplay, and we all end up being sore. Like we had a full body workout.
Had a full body workout.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna just say this: I did my workout at the gym. No one was hurt. I used metal.
No one was
barbells.
Except the old man that's sitting across from me right now.
There you go. Now that's who was hurt, the old man. And as he's sitting here creaking and cracking.
And listen. We are going to do our episode today. We're going to talk about that. We've talked about resolutions.
Today is our BODcast.
The BODcast.
The BODcast.
You heard us say that on another episode. You heard it first. We're going to call this the BODcast instead of the podcast. But you're listening to the Pastor and the Prince. You can get in touch with us if you'd like to do that. Tell us all your ideas. Give us your critiques, good or bad.
Good or bad, doesn't matter.
Podcast at yahogo.org.
That is
PODCAST at the little A with the circle around it.
You switched it up.
YAHOGO.org.
So let's slow down just a little bit because he gave you two things. He gave you a web address, which is podcast.yahogo.org. That's a web address.
Right.
The second item that he gave you was an email address, which is podcast@yahogo.org. So I don't want you to be confused because we're not confused, and I know he's not confused. He's happy to share that information with you, and he's also sharing some additional information with us as well about this BODcast. Talk to us some more about this exercise.
So we gotta, and I think it was Beyonce that said "get bodied" or something like that. But anyway,
we have a very special guest, and if Lyle doesn't know how to do it, I know how to do it.
It's not Beyonce. Okay, all right. Listen. Before we run out of time and have to take our first break, I want to tell you about a very special guest that we have.
Dear friend to the show.
He's going to really educate us today and illuminate us, and
he's going to tell me why I'm so
sore. Dispel a couple of myths. He's going to tell you why you're so fat and you can't get rid of that belly.
There you go.
That broccoli belly that you have.
Hey.
Listen to another episode to find out what the broccoli belly is.
There you go. Or potato cakes.
Exactly. But listen, this person is a longtime friend. We've been friends for over 30 years, I think it is. And
that's 3 decades.
I know. A long time. I was like 10 years old.
Both of you are old.
I was like 10. So
okay.
He has his Master of Science in Sports Psychology. He has his Bachelor of Science in Exercise Physiology. And he has been with the New Orleans Fire Department for 24 years. 12 of those years, he has been a captain in the New Orleans Fire Department there in New Orleans, Louisiana. And also, he juggles more than one career. He's not only a real life hero. I love saying that because he runs into fires to save things, people, and places, and all
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
He's a first responder.
First responder. A real life hero. That's right. He also has been for the last 21 years, he has been a certified fitness trainer. So he actually works at a real gym.
Certs here.
Yeah, he works at a real gym, and he has real certification. So he actually gets to tell us what to do. All right. Yeah. And while he has been with the New Orleans Fire Department, he's one of their hazardous materials specialists.
Nice. Fireworks.
Yeah. So he's one of the few who specialized in hazardous materials, and he has also been a physical fitness officer. That's right. So he gets a chance to train the new recruits that are coming on to the New Orleans Fire Department. His name
this feels like a long introduction, it is because our very special guest is on the hotline
His
right now.
His name is Mr. Marco Iverson.
Mr. Marco
Iverson. That's right. And the audience goes wild. The audience goes wild.
Marco, this is a pleasure to, I'm going to say what they say on Zoom, meet you.
Oh, my goodness.
Or maybe I should say meet you on this BODcast.
You know what? I'm going to get an eject button to eject the tech guy out of the room. All right. Exactly. Oh my God. Him and his favorite sound effects. Marco, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Marco.
We appreciate it. Thank you
all for having me.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Listen, we're going to get right into it because in a couple of minutes we're going to take a break. But I want to, first of all, it sounds like you have quite a bit of study in the fitness arena and exercise and physiology and all those wonderful biological words.
This sounds like a question. It
is a question.
So should we just go ahead and ask him?
I want to ask him. Well, no. I want to ask him this question first.
Okay, go for it.
Marco, what was it in your childhood or maybe even in your young adulthood? Not that you're not a young adult now, but
wait a minute, Marco, were you a biscuit boy?
Okay, so to my question, what is it that gave you this passion that you wanted to include your career choices in fitness? What was that?
Actually, it didn't start out that way.
No,
really. I worked out a little when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I played some sports, never really organized sports.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pickup games.
But I did engage in some sports, and I worked out a little bit growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But when I decided to go to college, initially I started out in engineering, and I realized I didn't like math as much as I needed to pursue that course.
True, that's true.
Yeah, because numbers don't lie.
No, they don't.
This is true. So I had to make a shift.
Mm.
And what I shifted to was physical therapy.
Mm.
And as I was getting my prerequisites for physical therapy, apparently whoever the gods of physical therapy are didn't want me to pursue that because every time I would get close, they would change
the requisites,
the requirement.
Get out of here.
It went from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree.
Wow. That's interesting.
And also, while I was still in school, it went from a master's to a PhD.
Whoa.
Nice.
At some point.
Wow.
And at the age of 18, 19, 20, I couldn't wrap my head around being in school that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to find a course of study that I could include what I've already been studying, but also get a degree.
Gotcha.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Very practical.
That led me to exercise physiology.
Gotcha.
Nice. Okay.
Gotcha. So, can you give us a brief definition of what is exercise physiology?
Exercise physiology is exercise, study of movement, physiology, how it affects the body.
Nice.
Okay.
So, yeah, how movement, how repetitive movement, how organized movement, how planned movement affects the body, how it functions, and the changes it causes.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
I guess it really depends on your age. It depends on quite a few factors that they're adding into that. Yes?
Yes.
Right.
Age is a huge factor. Gender even.
Wow.
Because depending on gender, we have different levels of hormones. And hormones can affect how the body functions, how we gain muscle, how we store body fat.
Interesting.
All those things are regulated by our hormones.
So wait a minute, Marco, let me ask you this $1 million question, because I have an issue with this, because I'm one of those who don't like to do it. How important is the pre-workout warm-up?
Now, before you answer that question, we'll be right back. No! We've got a break for you.
After these messages,
because we're going to talk about resolutions. We're going to talk about goals, and we've got our regular word that we want to introduce to you. We'll be right back. And we're back. You're listening to The Pastor
and the Prince.
And this is a podcast that you can invite all of your family to.
All your family, all your friends.
Yep. Go on, no matter what platform you're listening to.
Actually, today it's a BODcast.
That's right. That's right. It's a BODcast. But whatever platform that you're listening to us on, you can also go to podcast.yahogo.org. And that is spelled PODCAST dot. Like a little period there. Yahogo, YAHOGO.org.
I know, I messed that one up. You can blame me, advertisers, and those of you that own the website. So
now,
blame the pastor now.
Pastor, you had a question for Marco. Well, before you do that, let me just say, if anybody just kind of jumped in, or you're over listening to somebody else listening to the podcast, we're talking to Marco Iverson, who is a 24-year veteran with the New Orleans Fire Department. He's 21 years as a certified fitness trainer, and
2 decades.
many. Yes. And he has the degrees. He has the letters behind his name to be able to tell us what to do.
And he's a first responder.
Yeah. So he has degrees in sports psychology as well as exercise physiology. And we've got a question for him right now.
The importance of the pre-workout, they refer to it as the warm-up. How important is that warm-up for,
It's really important. You don't want to jump into an extensive physical routine without first allowing your body to both stretch and to get warmed up. It's similar to just start jumping into your car on a full day and going 500 miles an hour.
Whoa.
The car doesn't like that.
No, the car does not like that. That's a good analogy.
So you have to let it warm up.
Okay.
So yes, that pre-workout warm-up is important. A lot of people will engage in a few minutes of some type of cardio, whether that's running on a treadmill or an elliptical or something like that. That gets the blood pumping. That gets the muscles warmed up, and it also provides some stretching.
Okay.
Stretching.
And how important is stretching? Because I've seen a lot of yogists, and they say, hey, you can actually lose weight by just doing yoga. So how does all of that kind of...
If you've ever tried yoga is a lot more difficult than most people think it is. Just moving our bodies and holding our bodies in position in space requires a lot of energy.
It does.
So yes, I would recommend to anyone who hasn't tried it to try a yoga class.
Wow,
you would definitely benefit from it.
Yeah, because I've actually done some yoga with a certified fitness trainer as well to end a workout, and it was very, I'll use this word, mindful experience. After I was done, I appreciate it, and that was really how he led me into, the yoga stances.
So he helped you get your mind right. That's what you're saying.
He helped me to understand that you thank the body for the things that it just did during that brutal workout.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that, wow, this is how you end this. Okay, I won't be able to keep this up, but okay, I'm glad I'm with a certified trainer.
Absolutely. Well, I promised you something. I promised our audience something. We always introduce a word to them.
Introduce a word.
And
What's the word?
Today, the word comes in a 2-word phrase. And we're going to talk about this. This is something that Marco has told me about for a long time. But before I tell you about this word, I do want to tell you that...
don't you dare. We're tired of being
not going to it. No, we're not going to it. We just want to hear the word, and then we want to hear from Marco, okay? But no, I want to encourage you. This is a podcast that your whole family can listen to.
That your whole family can listen to.
It's a podcast. Make sure that you email us if you have any ideas for other episodes, topics that you'd like to talk about. Give us the good, the bad, all of that. And email us at podcast@yahogo.org. During this episode, we're going to talk about resolutions, goals, BMI. We're going to talk about abs. We're going to talk about how to transform the body, all of that. Now, you ready for the word? You ready?
Finally!
You ready for
the
word?
Is there a drum roll involved?
All right, yeah, there's a drum roll. He didn't do that sound effect.
I didn't do the drum roll sound.
We gotta find one.
Exactly.
Okay, the word is called body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia. So this one today, I'm introducing actually 2 words. It comes as a package. All right, and body dysmorphia.
Wait a minute, we have enough packages on Christmas. Go ahead.
Exactly. Listen,
You weren't supposed to laugh at that, by the way.
Okay, body dysmorphia. This is something that Marco introduced to me years ago, and Marco, you can chime in after this if there's something I'm leaving out. But body dysmorphic disorder is a mental illness involving obsessive focus on a perceived flaw in appearance. The flaw may be minor or imagined, but the person may spend hours a day trying to fix it. The person may try many cosmetic procedures or exercise to excess. So,
which
Marco,
is not good.
Yeah, Marco, body dysmorphia.
Talk to us.
Tell us what that's about.
That was a pretty thorough definition.
I got a good grade.
He said that was a thorough definition. He didn't say that was a good.
Whatever.
Keep going. Go ahead, Marco.
Give us your take on it.
Basically, it's when the body with the mind's image and the actual image don't align.
So a person can look in the mirror and see something grossly different from what actually is.
Yes. And in my line of work, usually it's one of the 2 extremes.
Okay.
It's either they will see themselves significantly larger than they actually are.
That's where anorexia comes from, right? Or produces anorexia.
Both anorexia and bulimia.
Okay.
And they will spend hours a day trying to correct something that actually isn't there, but that they imagine.
So it's a mental thing.
To be something that needs to be fixed.
It's considered a mental illness.
It's a mental illness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. The other extreme is something that's termed bigorexia.
Bigorexia,
which is and it's more common in men.
Okay,
I wouldn't doubt it.
And it is when a guy who is, a bodybuilder type, but he sees himself as being this 98-pound weakling when he looks into the mirror.
I know somebody like that. I know, and I think I may have even inboxed you.
Smaller.
Yeah, I may have even inboxed you, Marco, about a particular person. He's a minister, but he's huge. His one bicep. You know this person. I'm not going to mention their name. I'll tell you off air. But his one bicep is like big as both of my biceps, and he's always saying, "I wish I could be bigger." He's like, I can't grow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're huge.
Well, no, I think what he might be talking about, and this is where Marco can help us, there is a difference between a sloppy muscle and a clean muscle.
That's true.
But Marco, thoughts on that? Because I'm noticing that there's certain people that have muscles and it's mixed with fat.
That's like,
and then you have those that are almost like Mr. Olympia. Those people have very little body fat.
That's like the person with the big belly who says, I got abs. They're under here.
Exactly. Well, no, some of those bodybuilders, they actually have stomachs. But once they go into competition and they get oiled up and they suck in that stomach, you see their quote unquote six-pack there. But I wanted you to kind of talk about that or kind of help me out with
you hit it on the head when you said body fat percentage.
Okay.
Correct.
That's the biggest thing between someone you might see that is really strong, has big muscles, but they may not appear to be really strong or have big muscles.
Okay.
A muscular body. And that's because of the percentage of body fat that they're carrying.
Gotcha.
As you mentioned, when the guys get oiled up and get on stage, they've actually reduced their body fat to. It's really an unsustainable percentage.
Correct. That's what I've learned.
It's not a percentage that anyone should walk around 24/7 carrying, because then the body doesn't have enough body fat to actually function.
Correct. Wow. That was another thing that I learned. So it's like if you're going into competition, you're doing what they call the fat burn stage, and you try to burn off as much fat as you can and get that body weight down. Then I guess they get all of the liquids out of them as much as they can.
Right.
Yes.
And that's when you can accentuate muscles, and you can see that.
And that's when you can see it all.
Yeah, that's when you can see it all. Other than that, it's like you're not going to see it.
Wow. Well, we were talking about abs, so I have a question for you. Are abs actually made in the kitchen? Now, before you answer that, we've got to go to a break.
No more breaks.
Yeah, we've got to go to a break. So he's going to come back and he's going to tell.
You and I can talk off air.
He's going to tell our audience if abs are actually made in the kitchen. We've heard that.
Yeah, we got some sweet potato pie that we're going to make some abs with.
No. We'll find out when we come back right after this. And we're back. You're listening to the podcast of...
The BODcast of...
I forgot about that.
The pastor.
And the prince.
Yeah, he keeps forgetting that this is a fitness
That's
BODcast.
Right. This is a BODcast.
And we are BODcasting, good things for you. And there was something that we were just about to talk about just before the break, which is BMI.
Yeah, well, I like to do. I like to do these teasers. So
but we have to go back to something about body.
Right. So before, I'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. You're gonna
before we talk about if abs are actually made in the kitchen, and before we talk about how to stick to your goals and how to transform your body, we're gonna go back and just dib a little bit on body dysmorphia.
Is it butter?
Butter.
Keep going.
No. Marco, tell us a little bit more about body dysmorphia.
Well, there is an important distinction between having the actual disorder and just having a distorted body image.
Okay.
Distorted body image is that you just think that you look a certain way, you actually don't, but you're able to function throughout your day.
That's what I was thinking. It's pseudo.
It becomes a disorder when fixation and or trying to fix that disrupts your normal daily activity.
Yeah, obsessive.
Obsessive.
So,
compulsive.
So if you just think you look a certain way, but then you're able to function throughout the day, then, it's not an actual disorder. You're fine. But if you think you look a certain way and you spend 12 hours in the gym every day trying to fix it, and you structure your whole entire day around eating certain things or making sure that you get this many calories in, it can become so intense.
Wait a minute, Marco, you said something there. 12 hours in the gym? I hope you don't know anybody that does that, unless they own the gym.
There are people
who do
There are people that spend excessive amounts of time in the gym. And there are even people who, they're so fixated on this that they will measure the amount of food that they take in to their body, and then they will measure the amount of things that go out of their body.
Yes. Well, let me throw one at you. I knew this lady who is so just like obsessed with her being a certain weight and staying at a certain weight. She counts her calories, like down to the T. But this is something that I had never heard of. And I'm wondering, with your definition and with your explanation, Marco, if this fits into body dysmorphia, because she actually... anybody around the holidays or around special days, there's treats that come, and certain things that you may not eat on a regular basis, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna indulge. Yeah, I'm gonna indulge in this for today, that kind of thing. Because Marco and I used to have this thing where he said, that food is fair game, but desserts have names, and it's like you leave stuff in the refrigerator. Hey, you can eat whatever food is in it. Desserts have names on them. Okay, you gotta ask.
You'll fight over some.
Yeah, you gotta ask before you eat that piece of pie,
That's my little Debbie.
Oh yeah.
The one with the cherry rolled on the inside.
Well, let me tell you what this lady did. She was counting calories so much that even on special days, she wanted to taste what it was that was special. So she tasted it and went and took it out of her mouth before she swallowed it, because she let her taste buds give her the enjoyment of it without swallowing it.
I'm going to leave
because
that
she didn't
want
to take the calories.
There's so many ways I can go with that.
No, don't go anywhere.
Wow, that is
so Marco, do you actually
Clinton
consume?
said he did not inhale.
Right.
Do you actually stayed in the front of my mouth?
That person under his desk probably said the same thing.
Go.
So listen.
There you go.
So now we're back to
there you go. The blue dress or the purple.
Right. On this podcast.
There you go.
So Marco, in a case like that, do they actually consume the calories if they put them in their mouth just for taste buds?
No, your body has to digest them.
That's why she was smart in doing that. As long as you keep it in your mouth and don't swallow, and it goes to the digestive tract.
But a person,
well, there will be some. I mean, because your saliva will digest some.
I was gonna say,
break down some of it.
It's a minuscule amount.
I mean, there will be a minuscule.
It's gonna be something
minuscule. That's it.
Yeah. And she probably obsessed over that minuscule amount.
She probably did, and probably worked that off.
Yep.
If she's that serious, she probably did.
Yeah,
she probably did.
Well, listen,
most people don't know about the don't swallow piece. Because they'll just put in they'll just eat. Well, I'm just talking about those who enjoy eating.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the problem when you and it's all in the head.
But that's a good thing. He gave us some real good pearls of wisdom there, because when you digest, that's where the calories come from.
That's where they come from.
Listen, we're getting to the end of our we're getting to the end of our episode, and I've got a couple of things. I've got a couple of things, so we're gonna
let's go over just a little bit. Don't speed through too much. We pay the bills on this one.
All right.
Since we have our guests, let's do our guests right. Let's give them some talking time.
Absolutely. Well,
Marco, you talked
about you had to shift between engineering and physical therapy. So I know that sometimes in fitness, you do have to shift, and you do have to really get to the point where you switch from doing one thing or the other. So I want to ask you about resolutions. So we know that in the beginning of the year, that's where everybody makes their resolutions, and they just jump into everything they want to jump into, and they're like, I'm going to join the gym and I'm going to do this fitness, and that's about January, February, and then March. It's like they're in a crowded gym. Yep. And that crowd goes away. I'm sure you've seen that once or twice, right, Marco?
Every year.
Like clockwork. That's a good way to get paid.
So what can you tell our listeners today that allows them to stick to the plan? What could they do to really deal with that? I mean, is it like a complex strategy, or is it just like pep talk to themselves, or is it visualizing? What is it?
Actually, it's a little bit of all of that. All of those are good points.
All right.
One is, the most important one I think is, don't try and do too much too fast.
There you go. I like
because this has to be a lifestyle.
Exactly. Okay. I agree with that.
So it has to be something that you can sustain from now until.
Gotcha.
And if you set up this plan, this beautiful plan, that you account for every single minute of every day, you probably won't be able to stick to it.
Gotcha.
Right.
So you need to have some leeway in there to where if you aren't able to go to the gym one day, it doesn't completely shatter your whole program, but where you can make it up or continue on the next day or your next plan day. So it has to be a plan to where you're able to stick with it continually.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that in mind, actually creating a lifestyle, I just want to ask you like a brainy question. Since you've got this degree in sports psychology and exercise physiology, what's the correlation?
Exactly.
Right. What's the correlation between fitness and the psyche, the psychological factors? What's the correlation between those two?
Again, it's a lifestyle change. So you have to be willing to change your lifestyle.
Okay.
True.
If you were engaged in activities that were detrimental to you getting into the shape that you want to be in, then you have to be mentally prepared to let those go and adopt new habits.
Wow.
So that's where the psychological comes in.
Okay.
You have to be able to change how you view the things that you're doing.
Okay.
And find new things that align with your forward progress.
Your fitness goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say your health fitness goals. Because this is all about that healthy you.
Right.
And part of that health is what you take in and what you allow to come out. The fitness or the physical aspect is how you get the stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it really, in order to sustain it, got to start in the brain. It has to. And I try to share that. I try to share that with people who are trying to quote unquote lose. I'm like, you got to change the way you approach this because I'm going to tell you, sugar is hard to kick.
It is. Sugar is addictive. Sugar is addictive.
Yes, it is.
Would you say that, Marco? Sugar is addictive.
Yes, I think it's the number one addiction in this country.
Well, that depends.
More people are addicted to sugar than anything else in this country.
Whoa.
And,
Marco, I'm going to challenge you on that one.
Don't even know that they're addicted.
Marco, I'm going to challenge you on that one. Are you sure it's not salt?
Oh, I thought you were going to use the other S word.
I would go with sugar.
Yeah, no, I'm going to.
I think sugar is more addictive than salt.
I think I'm going to stay with you. The only reason I brought up salt is because there's a lot of people, especially in our community. And when we say our community, I just so happen to be African American. And I know in the African American community, salt is one of those things that causes or leads to high blood pressure. And that's been one of the things that we've been hearing in our communities quite a bit. Hey, you need to lay off the salt, Or on the other side, you have, what is that, diabetes? Or what is Madeir says, diabetical? So now we got to lay off the sugar. So
Right.
I know that the two are neck and neck. I just don't know who has surpassed the other. But you're about to say, Marco.
But one of the distinctions between those two, usually salt is, we have to add salt to our meals.
Yes.
A lot of people add salt to their cooking and add salt to, when they sit down to eat. Where sugar is sneakier.
Because it can come in some forms that turn into sugar.
That you keep in the little sugar bowl.
Yeah.
But sugar is also a main component in bread.
Right.
It's a main component in rice.
Right.
It's a main component in pastas.
Potatoes.
Yes. So all of those things have sugar in them.
Yeah.
Some people can't have a meal without bread. Or, some people can't have a meal without rice.
True.
All of those are sugars that they're craving.
Right.
Right. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So wait a minute. We now have to ask you this question. I don't know if we asked you this question yet, and I know that we're holding you over, and we're listening to the internet world and saying we're going over on purpose.
Yeah, because and please indulge us if you've got a couple of minutes. I know you were just on the top of
And if you don't have a couple of minutes, you can turn to the other podcast, and we'll still be here. Okay?
No, I'm talking to Marco. If Marco has a couple of minutes, because I know he was just on the top of the building at Jackson Brewery, and he's actually dealing. Yeah. We're dealing with different time zones.
The Prince and I were talking about this BMI.
Oh, before you do that, though, I wanted to share something. You were talking about the addiction of sugar and so forth, but I just wanted to say that that's one of the reasons when I moved from the South to California to the West Coast, I lost 52 pounds just by getting rid of the sugar. And people were asking, you were talking about the lifestyle and you were talking about the correlation between fitness.
You used to be fat?
Yeah, and I had no friends back then. I don't know. I don't even know where Marco was. I had no friends because friends will tell you those kind of things.
That you're fat?
Yeah, they'd be like, "You fat. You
not
need
your
to do
real
something
friends.
about this."
Your real friends will just love you fat and all. They'll say, "Come over here, biscuit boy. You're my friend."
No, that's your grandmother and your your grandmother and
I
your
like what Marco
godmother.
said. I think you miss it. He
You were
said,
happy.
but you were happy.
Right.
So now he's miserable.
See, no, but listen.
He's skinny and sad. That's all right.
But listen, you were talking about the correlation between fitness and psychological factors, and you were talking about the changing of your lifestyle. And that was the one thing that people were asking me, well, so now you're on this diet. And I said, no, I don't consider it a diet anymore. I don't have cheat days. I have carb days. I have eat anything days. I don't have cheat days. I'm not doing anything sneaky or anything like that. And I told them what I had to do. They said, well, what did you do to lose 52 pounds? I said, I changed my relationship with food.
Yes.
So I don't deal with cravings. I don't watch commercials.
Hold on. We heard from you, but let's go to the expert on that one.
Yeah.
He said something that I thought was important there, Marco, and I'd love for you to give your thoughts.
What's that?
Lyle said he changed his relationship with food.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you speak to that? Just elaborate it on it a little bit, because some people think that you don't have to change. But Lyle said he changed his relationship. What are your thoughts on that?
Most of the time, when we are putting food into our mouth, it's not because we're hungry.
Ooh.
It's not to satisfy a nutritional need.
Wow.
Some people eat when they're bored.
Uh-oh.
Some people eat when they're upset.
Mm-hmm.
Some people eat when they're nervous.
Nervous. I was about to mention that one.
You know, we have all these other reasons why food is our go-to.
Yeah.
It's close.
And
Snacking
we
on the
have
road,
to
bored.
change that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
We have to find other ways to satisfy or to handle those emotions that don't involve us, you know, eating half of a cake.
Wait a minute. What's wrong with eating a half a cake? I was just thinking about some pound cake there, and I was like, wow, that sounds good about
My mom is a certified pastry chef. Both
Yes,
of you
she
know
is.
that.
Oh, my
that's what we
goodness.
used to do. That's why I'm
One of the
laughing.
best.
Right, she
boy.
is one of the best.
One of the best.
Shout out to Deborah's Bakery, Deborah the Baker.
Deborah the Baker.
In Baker, Louisiana.
I was hoping he was going to say the right
Deborah
name, because
the
I said, if he
Baker.
say the wrong name,
Yep.
I'm mad.
Deborah the Baker, and she's
Deborah
like
the Baker. I
she's got
need
a
you to
new-
go there.
Yep.
She's in New Orleans. You said she's in
No,
Baker.
she's in Baker, Louisiana.
Baker, Louisiana.
She's the
That's
baker
where she
in
at.
Baker.
She's the baker in Baker.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And she just remodeled and got all the commercial stuff in her kitchen.
In the kitchen,
and all
the
that stuff.
KitchenAid, the
yeah, so
places,
she's got a
etc.
new zeal to bake now. But let me tell you,
Hey.
when you said a half of a cake, that's what we used to do. We used to actually cut it in thirds. We used
Nice.
to. My mom used to have a hot cake for us after school, and we would cut it in thirds. And my mom would be like, "Could you at least save me a piece?" Like, wait, I thought you took your piece already, or you had a sample
Shame.
somewhere.
Shame and shade. That's all I'm going to say. Shame and shade.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, Marco. That most of us do eat emotionally,
Correct.
and that's the relationship that that we have to change.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
But wait, you were going to ask him about BMI, because I want to deal with these calculations and how is BMI, how do they arrive at these numbers so that we'll know whether our height.
Well, right before we do the BMI, I do want to go back to my question of are abs made in the kitchen. But and before we do that, no, we didn't answer that. We went to a break.
Oh,
now,
we did.
now here's the thing. One of the charts that I use is food cravings chart, and one of the things is that you were talking about this, Marco. I want to like put this up against your professional advice and wisdom. So this chart says that if your craving is sugary foods, sometimes you need chromium, sometimes you need carbon, sometimes you need phosphorus, sulfur, instead of you when you crave the sugary foods, get what you need instead of what you're craving. Do broccoli, grapes, cheese, chicken, fresh fruits, cranberries.
Get enough sleep.
Yeah, enough sleep too.
Get enough
That's
protein.
True. Spinach,
and chew
raisins,
some
sweet
gum
potatoes. Yeah.
without the aspartame.
Well, I'm saying that there's another factor, without the
There is.
aspartame. We mentioned aspartame with all the paint thinner and all that stuff in the ingredients. We
Another
mentioned
show.
that on
Another show.
Yeah,
Okay.
y'all look for that. Y'all look for that that episode on
We're touching on
pharmaceuticals, the war on
everything.
drugs. But what do you think about that, Marco? Sometimes when you're craving something, is it that your body is really asking for something else that you're really not giving it?
Nutrition is not my my degree,
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
so I'm not 100%
Okay.
on that. The information sounds correct,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times, what we get from one item is also found in another item.
True.
So I can see how that could be correct.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That does make sense.
So it sounds like
That's
we
some
have to do another
intellectual
episode
honesty.
about nutrition.
You know what? And we can bring in a nutritionalist.
Yes,
I have some
nutritionist.
friends
Yes.
who is in the space.
Absolutely. Now, Marco, can you answer that question for me? Are abs actually made in the kitchen?
Are they made in the kitchen with the sweet potato
Yes,
pie?
they are.
They are.
He said they
Tell
are.
us.
Yep.
Tell us.
How do you make abs
Sweet
in the
potato
kitchen?
pie is the enemy of an ab. I'm just,
And that's one of the reasons why we have
Hold
so
on.
many
Is it
problems.
because of the crust or is it because of the filling?
It's because of the word sweet.
Oh, man. Okay.
and pie.
And pie. Right. Sweet and pie.
And
There
pie.
you
It's
go.
probably fine.
There you go. It's like 50% sweet and the other
And
50%
it's pie. Yeah, there you go. But no, you were saying about the abs being made in the kitchen. Go for it.
Yes, they are, because you can't out exercise a bad diet.
I've heard about
impossible.
that. Yes.
Wow.
And the reason for that is you take in so many more calories than you're able to
Exercise out.
expend in
And burn
in
out,
a
correct.
reasonable workout.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing a 12-hour
I'm
workout.
from New Orleans, so and most of the people that I work with are from the New Orleans area.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I give the analogy of a Thanksgiving meal, which is for most people probably their largest single meal they will have
In the
a year,
entire year. Yep.
throughout the year.
That's true.
But in order to work off the average Thanksgiving meal, one would have to run from New Orleans to Baton Rouge and back
Whoa.
in order to expend those calories that they take in on that one day.
About
wait a
70
minute,
miles.
it's 70 miles?
About 70 miles.
Yes. So to New Orleans, from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, and then back to New Orleans.
And back. Oh, like 140 miles.
And back.
Whoa.
So
Why so
Yeah.
many? Because I'm thinking if you can run 9 miles, you'd be surprised how much you can burn after running 9 miles. The problem is after eating all that food, you may not make the full 9.
Probably won't make the full
I'm
two.
just gonna say, well, that's if you're not a runner. But I'm just saying, from a runner's perspective, someone who's run on an empty stomach and someone who's run on a full stomach. When you're running on an empty stomach, it seems like you can run for days. The only thing that you miss is the hydration. But when you're running on a full stomach, where you're not running as fast because that stomach is kind of talking to you, but you can still make it through the run.
So let's hear what the professional has to say.
That's right. That's why I'm asking the question.
well, have you ever wondered why you get tired after you eat?
Sometimes.
Once the body takes in food, it has to digest that food.
True.
So in order to digest the food, it takes blood from other parts of the body and it sends it to the digestive system to try and break all that food down so they can, disperse it into the ways that it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're running on a full stomach, your body's also still trying to digest that food. So
Bingo.
Your body's actually trying to do two different things at the same time. So you don't have the same amount of energy.
Correct.
Wow.
As you would if the body did not have that task for trying to break down the food that you just taken.
You could just focus on the run. Yeah, that does make sense.
What you just said would be what one of your favorite media moguls would say. That's an aha moment.
That's definitely an aha moment, because I can tell you that was the one thing. Well, here's what was interesting and the reason why I brought this up.
Okay.
Because lately I've been training to do a marathon. And I can do a half marathon easy, no problem. Don't really need any snacks or nothing in between. I can do that, no problem. But I was told that in order to do the longer runs, you have to eat something so that you have something to burn. And I've noticed after you get into 9 miles, 10 miles, 14 miles, that's when you find out you need something to burn. Because without the burn, you're going to stop. And it's going to be because you don't have enough fuel. And I'm finding out that eating is a part of the fuel, especially if you're going to do 26. And that was where that question was really born out of.
Is that also like the caloric intake? Like you're taking in actual calories?
Marco?
Well, the caloric intake is the amount of calories you take in at any given time.
Oh,
okay.
So your caloric intake for the day is how many calories you take in a day.
Yeah, that particular day.
Your caloric intake for an hour is how many calories you take in during that hour.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's any specific time.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm not a runner,
Okay, no worries.
but based on
I love
the
his
physiology
disclaimers. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a runner.
But no, that's fine, because it provides clarity and
I wanted to
intellectual
have a
honesty.
starting point.
Right. I got you.
Go ahead.
I would think that if you were able to intermittently take in some light snacks during your run, even if you aren't exactly hungry at that time,
Correct.
that might aid in your run.
And you're basically saying what other distance runners have shared. You'll take like little pellet packets with you, so that while you're out there and you feel low on either energy or whatever, you take one of these pellet packs, or you might even have a water pack. and you just drop that in. That'll give you the energy that you need to make it through the next, I'll call it stage, because it's weird. Once you get out there, it's really mind over body. And your body's saying, hey, we can make this. Let's go. And then your mind is saying, or your body is saying, yeah, we can make it if I got enough energy. If I don't have enough energy, I'm going to stop on you. So
I wouldn't wait until you actually feel like you're out of energy.
True. If you do it beforehand.
Do a little bit every 5 miles or so, or every, set a period for yourself.
Right.
Every 3 miles, I'm going to take in, 50 calories of whatever I'm carrying with.
Apple slices or oranges or whatever. Yeah.
That's kind of like hydration, with the concept. If by the time you actually feel thirsty and really need the water,
you're dehydrated.
You've waited too long.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
Okay, so now BMI is what it's called. BMI, body mass index. So here's what I found. And once again, I like to throw this against your wisdom and your training and your wonderful education, Marco.
We'll start wrapping it up.
Yes,
soon.
and by the way, those of you that are listening, we are talking to Marco Iverson. He has a degree in sports psychology and exercise physiology, has been with the New Orleans Fire Department for 24 years, 12 years as a captain. Of platoons. That's right. And he also worked as a physical fitness officer, where he trained recruits that came in to get them fit to be a part of the.
And this is where this BODcast.
This BODcast. That's right.
BODcast.
And for 21 years, he has been a certified fitness trainer there in New Orleans. So we're talking to him, getting all this wonderful wisdom for all those people who started off. Yeah, all those people who started off in January and went to those crowded gyms, and then you just fell off sometime in March. This is who we're talking to. That's right. We're talking to
February.
I was trying to give them.
They stopped in Black History Month.
No, they stopped right before Valentine's Day. It's like all those chocolates. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so BMI. We've heard about this. It's called the body mass index. Body mass index is a value derived from the mass and height of a person. The BMI is defined as the body mass divided by the square of the body height, and is expressed in units of kilograms, or what's the M2 square? What is that? M2 square.
M2 square. Well, we'll ask the pro here.
No. He already told us that he wasn't good in math. That's why he left engineering. That's why he left
engineering.
See, you gotta listen when y'all guests talk, okay? Resulting from mass in kilograms and height in meters. That's what it is. Meters. M2 power to the second power is meters. All right.
And you and I talked about that off air. So most of these calculations are done because of centimeters, not millimeters, inches, and kilograms. Once you get all of your numbers in those 3 types of formats, you can pull together any calculation that you want to do in Excel or with a calculator.
Right. Well, Marco, one of the things that I was saying off air with Pastor Tim was that I stopped paying attention to it because I started noticing that with the BMI, all the athletes were overweight. Everybody was considered overweight with BMI. It's just like, okay, BMI just means you this big male fat person. That's what it means. Okay. So anyway, Marco, tell us what
big male igloo. Go ahead.
Big male igloo, right? Just holding a bunch of cold fat.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Marco, tell us what you think about the
fish. The fish made me fat.
No soup for you.
No soup for you.
Marco, tell us about BMI.
Yeah.
BMI.
Well, as you mentioned, BMI is calculated from taking your height versus your weight.
Okay.
And the biggest issue with that is that someone's height is, what their height is. So that doesn't vary.
Okay.
But your body composition.
That's correct. Go ahead.
Can have a huge bearing on how much you weigh.
Gotcha.
Or why you weigh
what you weigh. I knew you were going to say that because I was going to impress upon that. Go ahead, Marco.
So if you have, let's say you have a 6'10" regular person who doesn't work out at all, they enjoy the sweet potato pie.
There you go,
the sweet and the pie.
Yeah. And let's say they weigh 200 pounds.
Okay.
Ooh.
So 5'10", 200 pounds. You also have an athlete who plays football is training in his preferred sports all day, every day. Does cardio, does weights. He also is 5'10" and weighs 200 pounds. They will have the exact same BMI.
BMI, correct. And
even though one is significantly fitter than the other person. One person, the regular person, his pant size may be a 36, 38. 5'10",
38,
200
40.
pounds.
Because they played
38, 40.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is they played with some of the sizes now. And pants that used to be one size,
you're right.
Even for men, they done switched it up. So I'm just putting that out there for the
unless
internet
unless
to
you're
hear.
ordering from Asian countries.
When you're ordering from Asian, it's even worse. You're going to be a double X or a triple X. So just put that out there.
Right.
They're medians, and it's based on median size. Go ahead, Marco.
The athlete, again, 5'10", weighs 200 pounds. He may have a waist size of a 32.
Bingo. Yep.
Or a 30 even.
Yep.
But again, they both have the exact same BMI.
Yep.
Because body mass index does not take into account what your body is composed of.
What is composed of. And I was going to bring that out. And this was something that the Prince and I talked about off air. And I learned this from a book called The 6 Hour Body, but that's not the name of the book. For those of you that are familiar with the blog. And I can say this person's name because he's a wonderful author. His name is Tim Ferriss. But for those of you that are familiar with Tim Ferriss' work, he had mentioned that in his book, and he gave approximately 6 ways to get your proper body weight. And none of them included, quote unquote, the classic scale that most of us have. And I was like, oh, that's something that I'll have to make a note of because, all things are not going to be the same when I'm looking at metrics like BMI, BMR, RMR. These are all these numbers that they use and, to help you with your fitness journey. So,
well, I do appreciate you and your time, Marco.
Thank you, Marco.
What we're going to do is we're going to go
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you. No, we enjoyed you.
We enjoyed you.
Listen, there are two questions that we didn't answer, and what I want to do is go to a quick break. And we'll be right back to answer those questions. To do a wrap up in like maybe 2 minutes. Can you hang around with us for 2 more minutes, Marco?
2 more minutes, Marco.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back, y'all.
Be right back.
And we're back. We are called the
BODcast.
The BODcast with
the pastor
and the Prince. That's right.
And we have a special guest today.
Special guest. His name is Marco J. Iverson.
Whoa, you added a J.
Yeah.
J for jumping.
I wanted to make sure everybody.
There you go.
The government name. Exactly. 24 years with the New Orleans Fire Department. 21 years as a certified fitness trainer, and we got to have him with us.
Yes, we did.
Today. We might have to break this up into a few episodes.
Hey, this might be 2 or 3.
I know, right? But we had a that's the crowd going wild. He is a lifetime hero, a real life hero.
Yes.
He actually runs into danger.
Can we call him a superhero?
He is a superhero.
There you go.
He is.
Superhero.
He actually runs into danger
We can actually call him MJ.
MJ?
Keep going. I knew you were going to stop on that. Because you said Marco J. Iverson.
Okay, all right. I thought it was something relating to superhero. I'm like, wait, MJ, that's not S-H.
Michael Jordan. Come on.
Okay, never mind. All right. Well, we got so much into this wonderful information that he was giving us, and we're excited for you, our listeners, because we know that this information is powerful for you to change your life and to develop a different lifestyle. We need to do that. We need to do that. And
perspective on your body.
That's very correct. There are 2 things that we didn't get to talk about, so I want to briefly talk about that, and then we'll wrap it up.
We'll have to wrap it up.
One of the things is we talked about on a couple of our episodes, we've been talking about sticking to it and don't give up and the resolutions that we have and so forth. So with this episode where we're talking about the psychology of fitness and all of the stuff that's in our head, how do we stick to our goals, Marco? when we set goals, like, the people that are going to the gym or people that are just trying to work out or just trying to keep a good mindset about what to eat and stick to their new lifestyle,
stick to their guns.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Well, number one, you want to make sure you're well informed on, once you decide that you want to make a change, you need to be well informed on how to go about that change.
Nice.
If it's going to be adjusting what you eat, how you eat. You want to be informed on what you're allowed to eat, or how you're going to adjust your diet.
So you already told me.
And when I say diet, I don't mean restricting your calories. I mean your diet as in what you're going to take into your body on a regular basis.
Gotcha.
True.
Gotcha.
So you have that, and you also need to set realistic goals. Most people are at a point, when they get to a point where they want to make a change, they didn't get to that point overnight.
Mm-hmm.
True.
They didn't wake up today and realize, okay, I'm somewhere that I've never been, and I just got here today.
Mm-hmm.
It took time. So you need to realize it's going to take you time to make a change, to get to where you want to be, to get to your goal.
Okay.
So you want to set a realistic timetable, and also you want to set up realistic processes. Whether that's working out, whether that's going to the gym, working out at home, walking around your neighborhood. Realistic processes that you can stick to. Because again, you can have this beautiful program that you've written down on paper, but when you try and work it into your daily life, it's unrealistic.
Wow.
Yeah. No, you got to STS it. Stick to the system.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We really appreciate the words of wisdom. There's one last thing. What about a person who sticks to their goals and they're doing everything? They've got realistic goals. They've got realistic processes. They're informed before they do all that, but they just cannot transform their body. How do you transform your body?
Then you want to reevaluate what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Gotcha.
And if you're unable to do that yourself, then I would recommend speaking to a professional.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Someone who is that this is what they do. This is what they've learned. This is what they've studied. Then they will be able to help you better able to reach your goals.
Wow. I think that kind of boils down to the shift. You talked about earlier, I love the fact that you talked about that you had to shift when you thought you wanted to go into engineering and then physical therapy. And sometimes there are all sorts of flags and all sorts of notifications that I say that not only, you find out yourself or that, God is telling you in so many ways, the entire universe sometimes gives us a message to tell us that it's time to shift. Thank you so much, Marco. I want to capture a few things.
Thank you all for having me.
Yeah, I want to capture a few things. He talks about resolutions. He said, don't do too much too fast. Change your lifestyle. That's right. And we did find out that abs are made in the kitchen.
Abs are made in the kitchen, but not with the sweet potato pie. Make a note. No sweet potato pie.
Exactly, because the two things that are wrong with sweet potato pie, they're sweet and there's pie. All right, there you go. All right. And also remember that there is a correlation between fitness and psyche. Your psychological factors and your fitness, they all work together because you have to think about what you think about, right?
All things work together.
And that's right. And he talked about transforming the body. We have to reevaluate everything. And if you can't do it alone, talk to a professional.
Get a professional
That's
help.
what they get paid for.
Pay the man or the woman.
Sometimes it's just above your pay grade.
Most things are above our pay grade.
Thank you so much, Marco. We certainly appreciate it. We've been, our guest is Marco Iverson, 24 years with the New Orleans Fire Department, 21 years as a certified fitness trainer, and we are so blessed to have you on our show today. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Marco.
Thank you all.